Chapter 3 Edmund and the Wardrobe. Lucy ran out of the empty room into the passage and found the other three. It's all right, she repeated. I can't. I come back. What on earth are you talking about, Lucy? Asked Susan. Why, said Lucy in amazement. In amazement. Haven't you all been wondering where was? So you've been hiding, have you? Said Peter. Poor old Lou, hiding and nobody noticed. You have a you you said Peter. Poor old Lou, hiding and nobody noticed. You have to hide longer than that if you want people to start looking for you. But I've been away for hours and hours, said Lucy. The others all stared at one another. Beatty, said Edmund, tapping his head. Quiet, Beatty. "What do you mean, Lou?" asked Peter. "Why, I said," answered Lucy, "I was just after breakfast when I went into the wardrobe, and I've been away for hours and hours, and I had tea and all sorts of things have happened." "Don't be silly, Lucy," said Susan. "We only came out of the room a moment ago, and were there you were there then." "She's not being silly at all," said Peter. "She's making up a story for fun, aren't you?" "And and why shouldn't she?" "No, Peter, I'm not," she said. It's a magic wardrobe. There are wood inside it, and it's knowing, and there are fawn and a witch, and it's called Narnia. Come and see." The others did not know what to think, but Lucy was so excited that they all went back with her into the room. She rushed ahead of them, flung open the door of the wardrobe, and cried, "Now, go in and see for yourself." "Why, you goose," said Susan, putting her hand instead of pulling the fur coats apart. "It's just an ordinary wardrobe. Look! There's the back of it." Then everyone looked and pulled the coats apart, and they all saw Lucy herself saw a perfectly ordinary wardrobe. There was no wood and no snow, and the back of the wardrobe with the hooks on it. Peter went in and rapped his knuckles on it to make sure that it was solid. "A jolly good house, Lou," he said as he came out again. "You have really taken us in, I must admit. We half believed you." "But it wasn't a hoax at all," said Lucy. "Really and truly it was all different a moment ago. Honestly, it was. I promise. I promise." "Come, Lou," said Peter. "That's going a bit far. You had your joke, hadn't you? Better drop it now." Lucy drew very red grew very red in the face and tried to say something, though she hard, hard, hardly knew what she was trying to say, and burst into tears. For the next few days she was very miserable, eas- easily at any moment, if she could have brought herself to say that the whole thing was only a story made up for fun. But Lucy was a very truthful girl, and she knew that she was really in the right, and who thought she was telling a lie, and a silly lie, too, made her very unhappy. The two elder ones did this without meaning to do, but Edmund could be spiteful, and on this occasion he was spite Edmund could be spiteful, and on this occasion he was spiteful. He sneered and jeered at Lucy and kept on asking her if she found any other new countries and other cupboards. all over the house, all over other cupboards all over the house. What made it worse was that these days ought to have been delightful delightful. The weather was fine and they were out of the doors from morning to night, bathing, fishing, climbing trees, and lying in the heather, but Lucy could not properly enjoy any of it, and so things went on until the next wet day. That day, when it came to the afternoon and there was still no sign of the break in the weather, they decided to play hide and seek. Susan was Susan was it, and as soon as the others scattered to hide, Lucy went to the room where the wardrobe was. She did not mean to hide in the wardrobe because she knew that would only set the others talking again about the whole wretched business. But she did want, but but she did want to have one more look inside it, for by this time she was beginning to want it herself. Rather, Narnia and the fawn had not been a dream. The house was so large and complicated and full of hiding places that she thought she would have time to have one look into the wardrobe and then hide somewhere else. But as soon as she reached the it, she heard steps in the passage outside, and then there was nothing for it but to jump into the wardrobe and hold the door closed behind her. She did not shut it properly because she knew that it was very silly to shut oneself into a wardrobe, even if it is not a magic one. Now the steps she had heard were those of Edmund, and he came into the room just in time to see Lucy vanish into the wardrobe. He at once decided to get into into it himself, not because he thought it it is a particularly good place to hide, but be, but because he wanted to go on teasing her about her imaginary country. He opened the imaginary country. He opened the door. There were coats hanging up as usual, and a smell of mothballs and darkness and silence, and no sign of Lucy. She thinks I'm Susan. Wait, she thinks I am Susan. Come to catch her," said Edmund to himself, and so she she's keeping very quiet and at the back. He jumped and shut the door, forgetting what a very foolish thing this is to do. Then he began feeling about for Lucy in the dark. He had expected to find her in a few seconds and was very surprised when he did not. He decided to open the door again and let in some light, but he could not find the door either. He didn't like this at all and he began groping wildly in every direction. He even shouted out, "Lucy, Lou, where are you? I know, I know you're here." There was no answer, and Edmund noticed that his own voice had a curious sound, not the sound you expect in a cupboard, but a kind of open air sound. He also noticed that he was unacceptably cold, and then he saw a light. "Thank goodness," said Edmund, "the door must have swung open of its own accord." He forgot all about Lucy and went towards the light, which he thought was the open door of the wardrobe. But instead of finding himself stepping out into the spare room, he found himself stepping out from the shadow of some thick, dark fire trees into an open place in the middle of the wood. There was crisp, dry snow under his feet, and more snow lying on the branches of the trees over of the trees Overhead there was a pale blue sky and sort of sky one sees on a fine winter day, and a fine winter day in the morning. Straight ahead of him he saw between the tree trunks the sun just rising, very red and clear. Everything was perfectly still, as if he were the only living creature in the country. There was not even a robin or a squirrel among the trees, and the wood stretched as far as he could see, even and even every direction. He shivered. He now remembered that he had been looking for Lucy, and also how unpleasant he had been to her about her imaginary country, which now turned out not to have been imaginary at all. He thought that she must be somewhere quite close, and so he shouted, "Lucy, Lucy, I'm here too, Edmund." There was no answer. She ain't she's angry about all the things I've been saying lately, thought Edmund, and though he did not like to admit that he had been wrong, he also did not much like being alone in this strange, cold, quiet place. So he shouted again, "I say, Lou, I'm sorry. I didn't believe you. I see now you were right all along. You come out, make impact."